Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody here for our town board meeting, November 1st, 2022. Could we all stand for the invocation? Jim?
Dear Lord, thank you for this opportunity to get together as neighbors and council to work on all the issues in the town of Princetown. We ask your blessing on this meeting and we ask your guidance as well, so that all our decisions that we make are good and sound and good for the people of Princetown. We ask this in faith in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Official reading roll, please.
Councilman Pavoldi? Councilman Jack Russo? Councilman Gray?
Here.
Councilwoman Mora? Here. Supervisor Esposito?
Present. Also present is our town attorney, Gerard Parisi. Okay, privilege of the floor. At every scheduled town board meeting, the public shall have the right to address the town board during the course of the meeting, referred to as privileges of the floor. Members of the public should restrict their comments to items of town business. Although there is no official time constraint, speakers should be considerate of others so that all interested members of the public have an opportunity to be heard. There shall be one portion of the meeting dedicated to the privilege of the floor near the beginning of each meeting. All remarks and questions shall be addressed to the board. No person shall enter into discussion with the person having the floor. Council members may address any comments during the course of the meeting referred to as council member comments. Privilege of the floor is opened up at 7:04.
From the Environmental Committee, I'm Bruce Pomeroy, and I just want to keep everybody informed of what's
Can
happening.
you speak up?
I just want to keep everybody informed of what's happening. We're finally getting responses and getting rolling on 2 educational events. And, you know, hopefully people who are willing to come to the town board just might be willing to come to these events also. The district technician for the Schenectady County Soil and Water District was going to give us teaching on the evening of December 6th. It's a Tuesday, but he got another job. So his boss, Nick Klemzak, the director of Schenectady Soil and Water District, will do the teaching. So that's going to be on. We're going to try to get publicity out. And they're going to try to get publicity out. So the teacher will be in this building live, and we're hoping to get, you know, a fair number of people live. And then it's also going to be online. People will be tuning in online. Also, we've been trying to get connected into the Red Cross for almost a year to get an emergency preparedness course done. And Courtney Shatrow, who is she teaches emergency preparedness to Eastern New York. She's willing to do it, and she wants to do it in November. We don't have a date yet. I'm meeting with her and 2 other Red Cross personnel virtually tomorrow to find out when they want to do it. And let me just get some, is it okay for me to ask for feedback from the audience about whether November is good for them?
Address it to the board.
Okay. So what does the board think about whether November is a good time for, you know, it's soon, whether we can have our emergency preparedness course in November?
What dates do you have open, Kristen?
The calendar's pretty wide open. I guess my only concern is that we don't meet now with the town board until December 13th, so I don't know how we would spread the word all that well, other than putting it on the website.
We'd like to do that, and the community notes in the Gazette, and there's that neighborhood social media thing on the computer.
Well, I guess every day, any day is open then.
Yep. And I've spoken with Greg, just no nights that there's already meetings, but the calendar's open other than that.
Well,
Seniors meet the 15th.
Pardon?
seniors meet the 15th, you might want to pop in there and mention something
Oh,
there.
you mean
as
go
well.
to their meeting and advertise it?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a
to
bad
them?
idea. Quite a few folks show up there on the 15th.
Thank you for that tip. That's all.
And you'll coordinate that with Crystal then? Okay. Any others?
Hi, James Nelson, 660 Sterling Road, Pattersonville, town of Princetown. I'm here to make the board aware, if you don't know already, that in the town of Rotterdam on Rhinus Corners Road, they're in the planning phase right now, in the public comment phase, for a 150 acre, I think it's 19.99 megawatts or whatever, solar facility. I understand that that's in the town of Rotterdam, but it's on the side of the hill on Rhinus Corners Road that looks right into Princetown. Their stance on it is that it doesn't affect the town of Rotterdam in their view, so they're not concerned with the project. They think it's a good thing. Roughly, I'm going to say it probably affects about 35 homes in Princetown that's going to be looking directly at this from across the valley. It's in one of the most scenic areas in the county, and in the town too. There are a couple others. Are hoping that maybe the town would make some kind of comment to them, maybe have them inform the Princetown residents that are going to be looking at this, because as of right now, the town planner said no, they don't do that. So all those people on Ennis Road, Sterling Road, 160, and it even goes into the town of Florida, will have no idea unless the word gets out that this is happening. So that's why I'm here. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. You state your name.
Hi, my name is Patty Madowitz. I live at 457 Sanborn Road in Pattersonville. However, I'm from the town of Rotterdam. I'm here to speak about the solar project as well. I've lived in Rotterdam for 2 years now. I moved to Pattersonville specifically for the beautiful views. It's amazing, but there is a proposed, it's called ELP Rotterdam. It's a proposed 150-acre solar park. It spans from, if you know Rhinex Road, it spans from Crawford all the way down Rhinex over to Sanborn. It's about a mile. I did go to Sterling Road and I looked across and you'll clearly see the site. And you can also definitely see it from Musselback Road. And it can probably be seen from Ennis as well. It is currently in review with the Planning Commission. It'll be a terrible eyesore on the beautiful scenery of this area. I've lived here for 2 years and I still stop my car to look up at Pattersonville up on the hill, and just, it's amazing. I understand the drive for solar is being pushed hard by the governor. But I think we should also respect our green spaces that replenish the earth and atmosphere. I've reviewed the Princetown's comprehensive plan, and section 10, number 9 states that the public desires to keep Princetown rural with open spaces, clean environment, and low-density development. And Pattersonville is in Princetown. Section 11 of the comprehensive plan speaks to preserving the rural character of Princetown. It also speaks to the shared services with adjacent municipalities, and that would include the Pattersonville Fire Department, which is manned by folks in Princetown. They're the people that are going to be coming to my house if it gets on fire. These are the people that are going to be called to this huge solar facility if it catches on fire. The substation is proposed to be 140 feet by 80 feet with some of the poles a minimum of 35 feet tall. The substation is proposed to be at the end of Sanborn Road, which portions of it are a single one-lane road. I don't know how that could be safe. The Rotterdam Comprehensive Plan states that it wants to maintain and enhance the existing character in rural agricultural areas and natural resources, maintain the unique western part of the town, protecting natural resources, conserve the rural character of western Rotterdam, rural hamlets, including Rotterdam Junction and Pattersonville. It also speaks to protecting the Great Flats aquifer. Currently, the town of Rotterdam has no plans or provisions in place for solar and wind. I urge the Princetown Board to urge Rotterdam to uphold Rotterdam's comprehensive plan, respect your comprehensive plan, and I urge the board to request that Rotterdam presents a moratorium on solar until they can get a good plan on how all this will serve both of our communities. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak at your meeting, and if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. And
How many megawatts was it?
it's 19.99 megawatts, so it's my understanding that it's at the threshold where the decision can be made at the town level. It's my understanding that when the project gets to be 20 megawatts, that the state can be called in to intervene. So this can be addressed at the town level. And I think we owe it to everybody in Princetown, Rotterdam, and Pattersonville to squash some of these things. I think Pattersonville and the area has already contributed plenty with the Pattersonville dump, the solar plant on 5S. There's one on 160 and a humongous one in Florida, all in this rural, beautiful area that the townspeople want to maintain. So
Did they have a public hearing yet in Rotterdam?
it was presented once, and the next meeting is the public hearing. At the first meeting, a lot of townspeople went and presented a lot of concerns, and I think ELP, Eastern Light Partners, the company that's procuring this, went back to the drawing table for a few things. So I anticipate the next meeting that, you know, hopefully it'll be more issues that the town people can point out that why this one more and why it's not a good idea. The piece of property is very sloped. The roads and the runoff already go down onto Rhinex, which I just learned this, and I think that I'm right, that Rhinex is the dividing line
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, you guys might wanna check the property lines on that one.
Yeah, it's like, that's the dividing line between Princetown and Rotterdam. Princetown residents, from what I understand, are on the one side of Rhinex Road. And I don't know if they've been notified or not. I can't speak to that.
What was the date of the next meeting at the public hearing, is that, you know?
November 9th at the Rotterdam Town Hall.
Next week?
Yep, November 9th, 7 p.m.
And you didn't look into their, you know, they have to give notice to certain people on
I
these.
have not
you-
received anything as far as.
and you don't
The
know-
town of Princetown's not on their list. The fire department, we get a copy, and Princetown's not on the list.
How about just individual neighbors and stuff, you know?
No.
who they're Sent to?
No.
Some
All
are-
municipal stuff, nothing,
Probably because they're not taxpayers in Princetown, so they just mailed it to their taxpayers.
Well, the town hasn't mailed anything to any of their town residents. The only mailing that some people have received are from ELP. And it was to go to a town meeting at the firehouse.
So we were, our residents weren't notified.
So they
Anytime.
wouldn't be notified anyway.
We have a public hearing. I don't know.
The first two letters,
Yeah.
said the road closed.
I mean, they could have had.
That's what I mean.
Interesting.
They didn't.
Anyway, because I don't know law that any right now gets to be.
Yeah, because when I have some, when I do something, I let Bill know for instance.
Well, right. I would seriously check the property lines on the Sanborn Road and Rhinex.
You have,
Technically.
I know you looked at some of the law, you didn't look at their notice requirement laws in Rotterdam, did you by any chance?
What, I'm sorry?
Their notice requirements, where they're supposed to notify?
It's in the, it's on, if you go to the Rotterdam, town
One meeting.
planning meeting minutes, there is a document in there, I believe it's from the meeting. If you give me somebody's contact information, I can give the exact place to locate the information. There is a document, including in some of the planning board committee meetings, where it lists some entities that need to be notified. And if if that's what you're referring to,
Well,
I'm
wanna
not sure.
I want to know what the statute, their law says. I didn't know
I
you
don't
would
know.
look for it, that's fine.
Okay. And the only notification that I received, and I live directly on the road where the project is, it's going to be the landing field. I received one notification from ELP Rotterdam, the company that's proposing this project, to have a public meeting at the firehouse to answer any questions regarding the project. And I can tell you, when I went, they couldn't answer any of my questions. My questions were, how far is the substation going to be from my daughter's property line? They had easels full of diagrams and graphs, 3 engineers, and nobody can answer my question. I asked how far the substation will be from my child's house, and they couldn't answer me that either. When you look at the plans, they got back to me subsequently by email, and the substation for this project is going to be 200 feet from my daughter's house. So I get worried about electromagnetic radiation. I think that's a area where it's kind of unknown. I think all this solar is something new, and we might not know the dangers. Just like in the old days, you used to be able to x-ray your feet to see how your shoes fit. Well, over time, it was discovered that's not such a good idea. You know, medications, DES for pregnant women was approved by the FDA, and now, you know, they find out later, well, all the children, or most of the children of those women get, you know, terrible cancers. You know, so I don't think that at this stage of the game to perpetuate the governor's drive to get solar 70% by 2030, that we should just be steamrolling all of our beautiful land and potentially putting people at risk. I think we need to have a moratorium, slow down, and think about it first. So thank you for letting me speak at your meeting. Any other questions or anything?
The one thing I forgot to mention, she might have covered this, but I've talked to a couple of realtors, and solar farms definitely reduce your property values. It makes them harder to sell, reduces the people who come in to see it, so in turn lowers the value. So, you know, you got 35 residents up there that are pretty pricey. There's some pretty pricey homes up there. And, you know, if you want to knock 10% off or whatever, you're talking about a lot of money affecting Princetown without having any say.
I 100% agree with Jim. Said no one ever to their realtor, find me a beautiful piece of property out in the country, but I want to be looking at a solar field, and I want to be able to hear the hum of a transformer outside my bedroom window. Said no one ever.
How many acres is that project?
150 acres, 55,000 proposed panels with a substation. And the area that they are purchasing, if they get this through, is 450 acres. So who knows what, you know, 3 years from now after it's up, if it is even up, if it's not vacant like the one on 5S, are they going to plow down more trees?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for having me, appreciate it.
Station 9, please.
My name is Kyle Quinn. I just wanted to say I second everything Patty said. I am the one who lives in the house that's 200 feet from the substation that they're putting in, and most of basically all the adjacent property to the project. And like I said, she hit every topic, and beautiful area, terrible road, and terrible place for it. They said that they're only going to be brush hogging land. They lie to everybody. They say that, and it's not. It's hardwood forest that's been growing for years and years and years, and basically they want to clear cut the whole top of the mountain that everybody in the entire valley will see. So, thank you.
Any others? Station 9, please.
John Fisher. I live on Musselbeck Road in Pattersonville, and I got a couple points. I think you can guess why I'm here, what I'm here to talk about, and these other people have spoke on the subject as well. First thing I'd like to say is Rotterdam has a habit of going to the very edge of their township and putting something plunk right next door to Princetown. They did it with the dump, now they're doing it with this. And And I think it's time Princetown said something to them about this habit of pushing all their crap our way, and especially the north end. I don't know if it's like that on the south end of Princetown, but the north end has had enough abuse from the town of Rotterdam. Second thing I'd like to say is, we had a discussion, I was here about 2 or 3 years ago to talk about the big solar field that was put up on 160. And at the time, I brought to the board's attention that some communities where these things are put in get a benefit, so that the local people who are living there and having to put up with this nonsense at least have the pleasure, I'll use the word loosely, of having their electric bills greatly reduced in order to, as a compensation for the eyesore in their neighborhood. At the time, the Princetown Town Board said that it was too late for anything to happen on the field at 160, but if it happened again, that you guys would look into it. Now, maybe you don't remember saying that, but I remember you saying it. And I hope that you would come back and honor those commitments from earlier. I thought I had a third point, but I forgot it, so thank you.
Okay, any others?
I'll just throw this out real quick. If any of the board members want to come out and see where this is, you're more than welcome to come to my house. I can show you exactly where it is. Right off my front porch. So I'll make that offer to you.
I've been there, and the view is outstanding, and they're gonna see the whole thing.
Jamie has a nice view.
Ed.
Any others?
Thank you, board, tonight. I'm Richard Daly, and I'm the town historian. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the fine, nice support from Ms. Crystal for our Veterans Recognition Day, which is going to be early in the evening, November 11th. We are recognizing the following veterans: Edward Kajewski, Army Korea; Stanley Ferguson, Navy, World War II; Marshall Whitney Ferguson, very close friend of mine in the horse business, all right, Navy veteran. His sister, Irma Ferguson Peterson, right, Navy veteran. Craig Ferguson, Vietnam veteran. Salvatore Marciano, or Matarazzo, I'm saying, Army veteran in World War II. And your granddaddy, Nicholas Moore Sr., all right, Army veteran. All right, George Bishop, Army, Shane Bishop, Naval, and my man, Mr. Douglas Gray. All right, it's going to be a very light service, just like you had for Mr. Moore for his service. I'm getting a nice printout, all right, from Vinci's Printing, all right, with the names of these people, and we can prominently display it. And we also, I extended an invitation to the state police, all right, and the county sheriff's office, all right, please come over if you have any veterans, or if you don't, all right, please come over, because like the commercial says, Lou, when you're here, you're family. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We're planning on putting this plaque. We can't put it in the, we can put it in the foyer, but not.
Yeah. Yeah, in the foyer, that's what I thought, because it's not gonna be a plaque, it's gonna be like a nice scroll, all right, like
Not
that.
in the community room, in the foyer there.
Yeah, all right, with the lights on it, and, you know, it'd be nice. I want to keep it low-key, but I do want to recognize these people, and I do want to recognize our first responders, and again, thank you, Crystal, for all your help and support with this. That's all I have.
What's the time on the 11th? What time is it?
Early in the evening, 5:30, you know, we'll have light coffee and refreshments, and pretty much just like you did for, you know, Nicole's grandfather. That's my story. Everybody satisfied with that? I'll adjourn.
Thank you. Any others? Put your name, please.
Derek Wilkinson on 3189 Dwaynesburg Road. I was just asking the town, we're speaking about solar, did the Electric City Solar provide all the information, documentation that they were supposed to? Last meeting I was at, they were supposed to supply a new deed for the mysterious 50
They
acres.
provided that.
No, why did they need a new deed if they own the 50 acres?
Do you want to answer that, Nicole? You're on the phone.
Well, why did they need the new deed?
There was
an error in the town's records, or the clerk's records, that had never been put together into the single deed, but there was documentation of what had happened over time. So they just had to get the deed updated to take it into account.
There was another deed?
No, there wasn't another deed, it was not added, it was, what did you say it was?
So you can call me and I'll check with my partner, because I heard from him, but from what I recall, they did own that land, but there was some screw up in the records at the county clerk's office that was never shown. I don't know exactly what happened, but that's generally what.
Well, I was just always curious about it because,
They do meet the 100 acres. I think it's 135.
Yeah.
because I came here and, I believe Isla told me like there was a second deed that the railroad gave property back. And I called the railroad about it and they laughed at me. They don't give property back.
I don't really have anything to do with it, so.
I know, but
don't
she
know.
shouldn't make up, you know, she tried showing me the whole southern bank below it and told me they owned it, they scratched the line out.
Yeah, I don't understand, but if you want to contact my office, I'll get a more clear answer. I just don't, I didn't do it myself, so I recall hearing it.
Yeah, like I said, I was just curious on, the last time, I don't think they were able, Doug Thorpe wasn't here, so I wouldn't made a decision, but since I'm about another deed, and I was curious, because I didn't think you had to redo the deed if you already owned it.
I don't think they did have to redo it, but.
No, it was what you just said, that, basically, it was just never filed correctly. They own the land, but it was just never, the deed was just never correct in the county.
Yeah, I looked at the county map before it all, and it was smaller than every 100 acre round, and now they reprinted it and it's bigger. So like, what people on the Rotterdam line got pushed over in the Rotterdam, like Canutty's farm, is that more Rotterdam than Princetown now? It's physically, I have the old map and the new map, and it's physically bigger now. So what pushed out because of that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know, my recollection was some sort of error with the county clerk on the property. And they did in fact own the requisite acreage all along.
And that was going through.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It got approved at the last meeting, right?
Yes.
I missed the last meeting, but,
No, it was,
where's the one before?
okay.
Yes.
And is it all right that there's only one entrance into the place for like emergency reasons? I mean, Jamie would be able to, like, I don't know, with the fire department, do you have to have two entrances?
All right, the project was approved, and if you want to discuss it after the meeting, we'll discuss it. Any others?
I have something silly compared to these soldiers, but Claudia Ostringer, North Kelly Road. I'm just curious what's going on with the rental property across from my house. It's my understanding you guys have been out there. I mean, it's not an eyesore like solar, but it's a pretty bad eyesore. And just want to know if you could fill me in. I left Tom a voicemail and didn't get a call back, so just wondering if you could fill
What
me
property
in.
is this?
It's 559 North Kelly Road. It's a rental. There's people living in campers. It's my understanding you don't even let Mr. Fredericks live in a
Oh,
camper,
that's,
so.
Up here.
It's this
Yeah,
minor subdivision.
We've taken care of that, we're working on that right now.
Okay, that's just.
And what about the
Mr.
buildings
Billings
with no
wants to
permits?
speak to this. Go ahead.
I'm keeping an eye on it.
What's the update on it?
If you want to discuss it after the meeting, we can discuss it.
All right.
Mrs. Jones, you got anything?
I'm keeping an eye on it, watching, see what goes on. And I don't,
I mean, saying you don't let Mr. Fredericks live in a trailer, but these guys can live in campers.
But I wanted to say about the solar panels up on 160, Brooks's farm. They started them, but they never finished them, right? Because they didn't have any material. Now, they have not paid Brooks any money whatsoever for any of that land. And they've got all these pieces of stuff up there, some of it, not all of it, where they're gonna put the solar panel. It may never even go up. And the guy may never even get his money. But that's, so these solar people are just moving in. Some of them are finishing it, some are not.
It's been 3 years.
I don't have any land to give them.
Any others? Okay, close up the public hearing, or the public hearing, we approved the floor at, what's that up there, 7:32?
Yeah.
Okay. Department committee reports, highway. You got anything?
He got, well, I ended up handling it for him, but, LS Power, they wanted him to come to, they, had a showing of what they had going on with their project so far, but, they just wanted him to see what was going on, but I emailed them back and said he's in the hospital. But then I told them I'd show them the planning board plan at some point, or whatever they wanted. So they were okay with that. And then, there was a thing with, the speed limit sign was down on, which road was it, Crystal? Oh gosh, was it Ennis? I can't remember. Let me see. There was, and somebody said that the speed limit sign was never put back up, and we needed to know what the speed limit was on that road to have the county put it back up.
That was Ren's Corners.
Was it? I'm gonna look back there.
I think it was Ren's Corners.
I'm looking back in my message, yes.
Reynolds.
Reynolds Road.
Yeah.
Okay, Reynolds Road. So he thinks that it's 35. So, and then, what, the county has to be contacted?
Yes.
Okay. So that's.
That's a county road, that's, we've got nothing to do with it.
Okay,
That's
well,
county
apparently
road.
they said that we're supposed to know the speed limit. And they, we thought that they were supposed to know the speed limit. So he thinks it's speed limit 35.
They said they need something from us in writing of the speed limit so that they can put the work order to put the sign back up on their road.
I work for the highway department. The state sets the speed on Princetown roads. You guys do not set the speed. And if it's not posted, it's 55. You don't have police to enforce the speed limit. You guys know you have to do a resolution if you want it reduced, and the state adjusts it.
We've been down that road
Yeah.
before trying to reduce the speed limits, it doesn't work. We've asked for reducing speed limits on different roads, and they don't comply with any of them.
But that was everything.
Pardon?
That was everything he had said.
Okay.
I got a call today too from Mike France from the highway department. He wanted to let everybody know that the repairs on Reuter and Pangburn for the basin drainage issues, he said that they won't be repaired now until the spring. They didn't get to it on their list, and they had to get their trucks ready to get fitted for plows. So they're not gonna have the dump trucks available, so that won't happen until the spring. But they said that they're going to do something with the sewer jet in the meantime. And then the other thing he wanted to say was they will be sending a maintenance crew to fill the pothole at the State Police building that you asked for. And if anybody takes out, any plows take out your mailbox in the wintertime, you're supposed to call the town clerk, and I will contact them to make that happen. You don't call them directly anymore. That was a change this year.
Okay, any questions? Water. Princetown's Water District Report. Bill October 2022. Gallons pumped 1,783,400. Maximum daily usage 188,600. Minimum daily usage 33,300. Daily average 57,500. We had the following water main breaks, leaks. 10-4 small leak at the pressure reducing valve on Gifford Church Road by Windy Hill. Repaired same day by the water department. 10-6 repaired small leak at Gifford Church Road pump station. 10-24 repaired a second leak at the Gifford Church Road PRV pit by Windy Hill. Repaired a third leak at Gifford Church Road pit by Windy Hill. 10-29 water main leak at hydrant in front of 2241 Duanesburg Road. 10-31 replaced the rotted bolts in both the line valve and hydrant valve on 2241 Duanesburg Road. Repair completed by William Larned. Let's see, issues work done. Painting update, Settles Hill Tank pit painting complete. Currently working on a Darrell Road booster pump pit. 10-21 Troy Solutions started the yearly maintenance on the generators. Completed work on 10-24. 10-27 engine block heater and a well station generator failed. Repaired by Troy Solutions. On 10-31 respectively submitted. West Blessing. And he has given us a proposal to utilize the budget and monies received for next year, but this will have to go into the budget process, so I'm not going to read it right now, but that'll be into the budget process, not this year because we've already done our budget, and we'll be voting on it now, but that'll be in next year's budget. We'll be discussing that. Any questions? Doug?
No. I was at the water main break the other night till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I know. Ben? Jim?
No.
Okay. Building inspector, total permits 3. This is from Tom Vereen. Permits issued 3. Permit inspection fees collected $0. Building inspections 5. Zoning review 1. Fire inspection 0. Final building inspection 0. Certificate of occupancy compliance 1. Bank deposit $759. Check to supervisor 0. Checkbook balance as of November 1st, 2022, $2,563.24. Activity in zoning 1, working on planning and zoning as needed, working on permit, final inspection as needed, reviewing plans as needed. Thomas Verini, building inspector. Any questions? Jim?
No, were there citations issued in this report too, or is that something that?
No, not in this one. Dog control, you're up, Ben.
There was a call Saturday from the sheriffs over on Waynesburg Road. A family had a couple of their pit bulls were fighting one another. It wasn't involving any neighbors or anything. It was just a family dog fight. And the one dog was injured. The daughter had taken that over to the emergency vet clinic in Latham. And the mother tried to break the dogs up, and she wound up hurting her hand, but she just iced it. There was no bites involving any of the people at all. So that was about it for any incidents. And there's a reminder for November 5th, this coming Saturday, and it's from 10 to 12, right? 10 to 12 for any residents in the county to get their dogs vaccinated, or cats or ferrets. They have to pre-register. And it's going to be a drive-through like we had with during COVID. It's going to be outside. It's a lot more efficient.
That's out by the circle.
Yeah, we're just going to keep them in the cars, give their dose, and they're on their way. So, and that keeps all the dogs in so they're not making a mess of the grounds either. So it works out good.
Okay.
That's it.
Any questions for Ben?
And you have to make the appointment online, I clarified.
It's online?
You can't even call. You have
They
to
can't,
call.
well, oh, they're calling, okay.
Yeah, and then you get a printout that has a voucher that they're gonna scan the day of to
Okay.
know which dog is which. So the website is www.health.newyork.gov/go-to-clinic.
Thanks.
Okay. The assessor's report, we got a lengthy one here, so I'm gonna have Crystal read it if she'd like to.
To the Princetown Town Board from John Bonanno, Assessor's Office update November 1st, 2022. The assessment cycle. The final assessment roll for the 2022 assessment cycle was completed and filed before the July 1st, 2022 deadline. The first time the assessments on the 2022 tax roll were used is the September school tax bills. There was one correction of error report that had to be made to adjust the school tax bills for parcels that was over-assessed due to a data error. The Assessor's Office has begun working on the 2023 assessment roll. One of the steps we're taking at this time is to send out renewal forms to property owners for certain exemptions. During the COVID period, the state relaxed reporting requirements, so the Assessor's Office is taking steps to update the various exemptions currently on file. These are the agricultural, disability, and senior citizen low-income exemption. The state's STAR program has supplied the town with a report 9, which is a list of property owners who may not be receiving the senior low-income exemption based on information from the Department of Tax and Finance. This exemption is based on adjusted gross income and provides a sliding scale exemption from 50% to 5% from county and school districts that adapt the state income guidelines. The Assessor's Office is taking a proactive approach and sending out a letter with an application RP-467 to the 105 property owners on report. New construction, the Assessor's Office continues to work with the town's building inspector during the year to ensure that all improvements are updated on the computer system and that assessments are adjusted as required. Office hours, there's office staffing Monday through Wednesday during normal business hours. The assessor is in the office on Monday mornings or by appointment. The assessor can also be reached anytime at 518-852-8513 or by email at masllc05@gmail.com.
Any questions for the assessor's office? Ben? Jim? Nicole? Okay, buildings and grounds, we're working on the heating system. We had a problem with it again, and it was repaired about a week and a half ago. They're going to be doing the work on this end of the building where that handler was froze, and Eastern Refrigeration and Air and Heating is going to be repairing that. That's going to be quite costly to get that up and running again. We do have heat in here right now. We have baseboard, but that's supposed to be a backup. Actual heating system is supposed to come from the ducts. The state police building, as we said before, that it's hard to get somebody to do the patchwork over there for the parking lot. I've tried calling numerous people over here, and nobody seems to want to be bothered with that, so hopefully the county will help us out with that. Other than that, there's nothing else going on as far as buildings and grounds. Any questions?
Is there any update on that building?
Pardon?
Sale-wise, is there any update on that building?
No, I haven't heard anything on it, what we've been discussing with it. Not yet. I think they're waiting until after the election. See what they're gonna wanna do with it. That's what I'm guessing right now. We're gonna have to make a decision on it sooner than later. Any other questions? Doug? Cole?
No.
Jim?
Yeah, just one. Well, we've improved our parking lots with lighting. It's tremendous. I mean, it's lit up like a Christmas tree. But we've talked about this once before, maybe having something at the entrance at Route 7, because it is dark and it's hard to see the entrance at night coming in. We talked about maybe a sign, maybe a light, but
Now that you mention that over here, I'm going to look into an electric sign, because our sign down on the end with the floodlights on it doesn't, it's not cutting the signs in terrible shape. I'm gonna be looking at an electronic sign like they have at Shellmont, and has, Pine Road has it in the fire department, that we can operate it right from in here. It's remote, wireless, and it's gonna be quite costly, so I'm gonna have to get a couple estimates on it. Wes, our fire commissioner over here, our fire warden, I should say, he gave me the name of the company that they use for Pine Grove. I'm gonna get in touch with them, and we're gonna have to get a couple more estimates, because it is gonna be quite costly. But if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it the right way, and that way we could put signs up there, we can operate it from here remotely, and it'll say when there's a town board meeting, any issues that are coming up, when the police court is, when they have the court, and anything that comes up that the public should have, maybe the fire department could use it at times to, when they're having meetings. I think it'd be a good idea to do this and look into it. I don't know what the rest of the board feels.
Yeah, we definitely need something at the entrance, because at night it's difficult to see the driveway coming in. I mean, I come in here all the time, and I gotta really look when I'm coming.
Ben, you got any?
Just depends on how much it costs.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's gonna be costly. You know, those signs are not cheap. But like I said, if we're gonna replace it with just the thing we have out there, then I don't think we should do that. We've got, I think we've got enough money in this year's budget to look into it and do it and get it done the right way. But we're probably gonna have to get 3 estimates on that because it's quite costly. But I think it's a good idea to, and it'll be a board decision, it won't be mine alone, it'll be up to the town board if they want to allocate the funds for it. So. Any other questions? Jim?
No.
Nicole?
No.
Doug? Okay, that's all I got. Crystal?
Just that town hall offices will be closed next Tuesday, November 8th for election day, so we are at polling place.
Okay, public hearings, we have none. Resolutions, meeting minutes. It is hereby resolved the meeting minutes of October 11, 2022, regular town board meeting are approved or as amended. Discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Kristen?
Councilman Goldie?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo? Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, resolution passed. General funds claim is hereby resolved that the town board approves claim number 191 through 204 in the amount of $12,609.97. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make it.
Is there a second? Crystal?
Councilman Goldie?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, resolution passed. Water funds claim is hereby resolved the town board approves claim number 136 through 145 in the amount of $3,719.94. Discussion?
I'll make the resolution.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Crystal?
Councilman Goldie?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, resolution passed. Amendments to the preliminary budget. It's hereby resolved the town board amends the preliminary budget as follows. General fund attorney line 1420.4, preliminary budget amount 30,000, final budget amount 39,000, special district Pattersonville Fire, preliminary budget amount 47,323, final budget amount 46,552. Special districts, Duanesburg Fire budget previously unknown, final budget 23,275. Special districts sewer rates previously unknown have been designated as follows. Duanesburg 24, EDUS, OM, final budget 15,605.76, and Duanesburg 30.5 EDUS, debt final budget amount 15,155.28, total 30,761.04 for 2023 sewer. Discussion. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Right, Crystal?
Councilman Goldie?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, resolution passed. Approval of the 2023 Town of Princetown budget. Whereas the 2023 preliminary budget of the Town of Princetown was filed with the Town Clerk on September 29, 2022, and whereas the Town Board of the Town of Princetown duly held a public hearing on 2023 preliminary budget on October 11, 2022, including the general fund, water fund, highway fund, Pattersonville, Plotterkill, Duanesburg, and Pine Grove Fire Districts, along with the 2023 Water and sewer assessment rule. Approved by the town board and filed with the town clerk, and heard all persons desiring to be heard on the matter, and now therefore be it resolved that the 2022 preliminary budget as presented and amended hereby adopted and established as the 2023 final adopted budget for the town of Princetown for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2023. Be it further resolved that the 2023 final adopted budget will be spread upon the minutes of this town board meeting in its entirety, and the town clerk shall prepare and certify as provided by law duplicate copies of the said 2023 final adopted budget, hereby adopted, and deliver one of such copies to the supervisor of the town and one copy to the county legislature of the county of Schenectady as required by law. Discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Kristen?
Councilman Bowman?
Yes.
Councilman Jacques.
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mora? Yes. Supervisor Esposito?
Yes. Resolution passed. Council member comments and discussion. Ben?
So, John, we talked to our lawyer when we negotiated the last deal with this newest solar project, and she had told us that, at least in New York, and I don't know if she mentioned other states, but it's not common, at least in New York, to have any immediate benefit to the residents that are impacted. Is that correct? Is that what she told us? Because I asked if we could add something for the people that are right next to the solar project, and she said of the ones that she has worked on, that they have never done that. Do you remember that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah,
So that doesn't mean it's illegal then, correct?
right. So,
So
you know, when we come
let's
to
start negotiating. We can set the trend, I would hope.
yeah, so the lawyer did most of the work on that, and she said it's not a common thing.
But not undoable. I don't hear you saying it's impossible, so I guess I'm wondering why we don't get a benefit.
Because a lot of these contracts are negotiated just on past practice and precedent. So if they do X, Y, and Z in most communities, that's going to apply similar to Princetown. That's just how that stuff goes.
I think it really just goes that way until somebody stands up and says, how about we do it another way? Because there are examples, and I presented them to you several years ago. I can do some more research and give more for you if you want. But, you know, if you just say, oh, okay, then that's the way it's going to stay.
Is there anything we can do about the Rotterdam project?
Talk with Rotterdam about it, or review about it. You know,
They
that's
should
their-
have
that's
had
their-
us, how it works with us, if I notify an involved agency, which is a neighboring town, you have to give them 30 days to respond.
Nicole is the clerk, is the privilege of the floor are over. She's the secretary for the planning board, so.
So whenever there's a project, like, you know, you're involved, the town is the lead agency, and then you have your involved agencies, which will be the fire department, the county, neighboring counties that, when there's projects on property lines and stuff like that. So what I'll do is, you know, you give all these agencies 30 days to give their comments. And we haven't received anything from Rotterdam, so, I mean, technically, if it's right on the property line, they probably should have, you know, send us a packet of coordinated review and given us maps and all that kind of stuff, so we could at least give them a comment. But we didn't hear anything from them, and their meeting's next week for a public hearing, so.
Say that last part again?
And if their meeting is next week for a public hearing, we had no notice about it, so.
We didn't receive any notice, did we?
Again, isn't this time to object or raise your hand and say, hey, what about us?
Yes.
So, you know, the big issue with that, and all of us up here agree that, you know, if we could ban these solar projects outright in this area, we would, because we want to preserve the rural character, but you're competing against the state. I mean, the best thing we can do as residents is just change the direction of where we're going. They're going to keep pushing this green energy into these rural communities because, like, I don't know if Jim said it, they could just steamroll through these areas. There's not enough resources and money to combat New York State. You know, I'm sure we'll try to do what we can with Rotterdam, but at the end of the day, until the state changes their direction, I mean, you you can't take on that level of money and influence, it's just not possible. I know all of us up here don't want to see these scattered throughout the community, I mean, we get it, but there's only so much a tiny town with a limited amount of resources can do, even if we object to Rotterdam, which I'm sure we will. You know, it's a
That's
big
why we
beast to
put
take
in
on.
100 acres over here in our town to keep these small projects out. Rotterdam doesn't even have that.
They don't have anything.
They don't have anything.
It was
for
in
as
the
far as-
paper the other day about it.
There's, like I said, that's why we put in 100 acres over here to keep these large projects out of our town. But we've gone down this road before with this, with these solar projects over here. And I know that the town of Florida has had really large projects.
I drive down Thayer Road every now and then, oh my God, I don't know what nonsense they're putting up there, but all the orange tape all over the place, they're gonna completely annihilate what that looks like out there, and it's a travesty. I don't know, you know, what they're doing there, but this is what we're up against, and it's tough in these small communities to fight that stuff.
You can fight something. There's something on the ballot this Tuesday about green energy.
That 420 billion or million or whatever it was, bond act, yeah.
Yes. I advise everybody to take a good look at that before they say yes.
No. First I heard.
Pardon?
First I heard.
Yeah, it's there. Ben knows about it, I know about it.
Yeah, I read it, sample ballot, yeah, ahead of the curve, and yes, you know.
So that's just a word to the wise out there when you go to vote Tuesday.
Lou, I videotaped Rotterdam's meeting. I can send you a link to the last meeting if you guys want to look at it and what was said.
Do you know if they mentioned anything about a public hearing?
They are opening up and they're pretty good about keeping it transparent over there right now, but they just opened it up last week.
Is it their town board or is it their planning board that's doing it?
Well, the planning board kicked it, I guess, the town board to make it known public that they're gonna have, open discussions on it. But it's something totally new that just kinda come up.
I think I made a mistake. The November 9th meeting is the town board meeting. The solar project is not, there's not a next meeting scheduled. The ELP is going back to the drawing board because there were so many issues. So the November 9th is the town board meeting.
So there's no public hearing?
Yes, it's public hearing regarding the comprehensive plan. And because this is tied in with the comprehensive plan, people have been using that as a,
So they're redoing their comprehensive plan?
it's in draft right now.
Probably. They didn't have a public, if they're still in preliminary stages, then we'll probably.
Then you probably, we always do get a notice from the neighboring towns that's
Yeah.
gonna affect us, and we haven't received anything
Okay,
yet.
so there's probably still time for us to.
So we can make comments on it, but ultimately, it's gonna be the town of Rotterdam that's going to approve or disapprove of it. But what happens over here, like Ben said, with these solar projects and this green energy that they're pushing down everybody's throat. And you don't see this down in Westchester County or down in Long Island or anyplace, maybe because they don't have the land. But they seem to be shoving it up over here in upstate New York. And if you ride out through the thruway out towards Buffalo, that's all you see is these solar projects lined up alongside the thruway. I've been opposed to it from day one. I don't think they're a good idea. I think that
Certainly not saving any money on our electric bills.
it's, you're gonna have solar junkyards. I'm not gonna see it, but there's gonna be solar junkyards. And if you don't keep these bonds up to date, every 5 years reviewing them, small towns like us over here, unless somebody's on top of it, where you're gonna be reviewing these bonds, because we all know what the inflation rate, what are you gonna do with these solar panels after their life expectancy is used up? From day one, they start losing their efficiency. After 25 or 30 years, they're not gonna be producing hardly anything. To me, this is just, every solar attorney we've talked to say the same thing, that this is just,
In 10 years, they could be.
it's just
Yeah.
they think that they're gonna
And they
power
can't
this
even
country
get
on
the
solar
panels.
or wind.
You can't even.
It's
get
not
the
gonna
panels
happen.
Right now, that's why the one on 160 isn't going.
They can't get the solar panels anyway for 160. They're gonna end up paying another building permit fee because it already expired. They can't get the solar panels.
They're never gonna finish that project with the supply chain and then these railroad people going on strike soon. There's no way. Project will never get done.
It's not gonna happen this year, I can tell you that. It's too late. They said it was gonna start in the fall of this year. Fall's almost over with now. They haven't even started it yet. The permit is expired. They're renewing the permit again. And since the taxpayer, everybody out there is paying for this, you're paying for all of this, they're just writing a check for another building permit. That's all it's doing over there, so, and nothing is getting done. And this other project over here on, by the tunnel, that's not gonna happen right away either. And that's only, what is it, 5 megawatts?
Yeah.
5 megawatts, that's not gonna happen for. But the state keeps dishing out this money to these solar companies, so they'll keep taking it as long as the state keeps paying them. Am I correct?
Yes.
Any other thing else?
No, I think I ranted enough.
Jim?
No, at the risk of being redundant, I mean, New York State, a long time ago, decided it wants to be the solar state. And a lot of money is allocated into these projects. And if you want to have a little fun, take a look at the money trail associated with how these projects are funded, who gets the money. It's an interesting concept to look at, but unfortunately, it's very difficult to stop because the state wants this. And if it's over a certain size, there's nothing we can say. The state has absolute authority, and we can't even object. This is one of the reasons why we put in that 100-acre deal in Princetown. Otherwise, they'll turn small towns like this into Christmas trees with these things dotted all over the place. At least, if you limit it to 100 acres, there's a very few parcels that size that we have to deal with. But, like I said, it's a tough deal. It's tough to fight the state, and the state is determined to get these things put up throughout the state.
Upstate.
Well, upstate's got more land, but
How many acres do you need to have a solar field?
in Princetown, 100 acres minimum,
Yeah, in Princetown.
in Princetown.
I'm
Otherwise,
just worried about that guy across the street trying to set something up over there because
doesn't have 100 acres, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen in Princetown.
You gotta have at least 100 acres, we put that in that. When we,
He'll try
because
anything.
You gotta have at least 100 acres in Princetown to have to even come to the planning board for a solar project.
And we have an attorney that protects your rights going forward, because this board, the complexion of this board is gonna change at some point, and we built this in because at some point, these things do become obsolete, and we don't want solar junkyards to be left. So we have attorneys that make sure your rights are protected well into the future. Through bond, they must produce a bond to set aside money in the event that these things fail or go bad. They have to be taken down, removed, and the land has to be brought back to its original condition. This is all done through our attorney. We have a special attorney that does nothing but solar projects.
Cool. Doug? Ben, you got anything else to say? Nothing?
Keep yelling if you want. If you want me to keep going.
Well, go ahead,
No.
that's what we're here for.
No, I'm good.
Well, like I said, we've been opposed to this as a town board for a long time, but as Jim has said, the state wants these things over here. We never asked for it, they want it, and they're pushing it. And this green energy over here, electric vehicles and grid, I don't know what they're
Right.
thinking.
We're gonna ban the gas-powered vehicles, right?
You know, we're gonna get, well, New York is gonna ban gas vehicles, 2035, that's coming, right after this election. If the stays the same, that is gonna happen, because California did it in 2035.
That's crazy.
But, you know, New York is gonna follow suit for 2035.
There is one thing I wanted to say about the water department. All right, I was there till 4 o'clock the other morning, called all night. And I'm telling you, we've gotta put more money in the water department. We've gotta do something, because we can't afford to keep doing it. The bolts, they dug it up yesterday, the bolts are all shot.
I know.
So people's gonna have to understand, the water department, for what they're paying, .004 for a gallon of water, they're gonna have to start coming up with some money from someplace.
So Wes has presented some options at the end of this report.
I read it.
So
And
hopefully. we'll be
I
able to
already
work-
know, I had a party at my house. And let me tell you something, they were all there, and I called everybody till 2 o'clock in the morning before I got any satisfaction. Okay? And we were here till 4, we got it shut off, but people gotta understand, they want the water, they're gonna have to pay for it.
Pay a
When
lot
you
for
buy-
this system,
when you
we
buy-
can go through this
When
again.
you go buy a 16-ounce bottle of water and pay $1 something, and you're paying .004 for a gallon of water, why are you buying that 16-ounce bottle of water? Huh? Explain that.
Don't look at me at this point. I'm not even hooked up to the water. Don't look at me at this point.
And we got the best water in town, or in the state. You gotta start understanding, you don't, look at fuel. $5.69 a gallon for diesel fuel, you run a machine for 8 hours, you're looking at 25 gallon of fuel, 30 gallon of fuel. People don't understand it, but they'll go buy a coffee for $2 at Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, we all know that the sewer, or the water system wasn't put in properly. You said it, I've said it. Every time you dig it up, there's a problem with it. It was never installed properly. Contractor's out of business, and I've got an old saying, you get what you pay for. Buy cheap, you get cheap. And that's exactly what happened. Buy cheap, you get cheap. So we'll have to deal with it when the prices start escalating.
You can't buy parts to buy a pump. If one of them pumps go down up there, if you don't have it on the shelf sitting in there, this town will be shut down. You can't get a pump, you can't buy it.
I know.
Gotta wait 8 to 12 months to get a pump. People gotta start understanding this. Go take your car, get it fixed. Half the time you can't get it fixed.
Okay, is there anything else? Ben,
I'll make the motion.
is there a second?
I'll second, this is to adjourn? I'll second.
Crystal? Motion to adjourn.
What time, what, 8:10?
8:10.
Yeah. Councilman Pavolny?
Yes.
Councilman Jack Russo?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Absolutely.
Councilwoman Mora?
Yes.
Supervisor Esposito?
Yes, thank you all for coming. Anybody has any questions they'd like to come up with us now? You're more than welcome to come up. Now that the board meeting is over.